Hello, my name is Charlotte Cardenas, and today I am presenting about youth and vaping, a new generation at risk. The mission of the Tobacco Education Program and the Health and Human Services Agency in Shasta County is to keep tobacco products out of the hands of youth and to help tobacco users quit. This mission extends to vapes and e-cigarettes, and the program hopes to see a 10% increase in cessation referrals by 2027. And this is our agenda today, the objectives. What are e-cigarettes and vapes? Why are they harmful? The statistics of use in Shasta County and the country. How we can protect our youth from these devices. Signs of use in young people and further resources for parents. So what are vapes and e-cigarettes? They are battery-operated devices that heat a solution called an e-liquid to create an aerosol that the user inhales. Here is an image showing the basic functionalities of vapes and electronic cigarettes, also known as e-cigarettes. And the battery is at the bottom of the device. Then there's a heating element in the middle, sometimes called a coil or an atomizer. Then there's a container for the e-liquid and a mouthpiece as shown in this image. And then the more recent designs of devices have a smart chip, just as you can see in the bottom image, and a simulator light where you can recharge batteries, manage power output, regulate temperature and other functions. This slide displays the different variations of devices. The top left image shows how the more recent designs of vapes and e-cigarettes have evolved. And as you can see here, there is a USB style charging piece, and these are easily mistaken for computer electronic devices. The bottom left image is of the more range of different size vapes and e-cigarettes designs on the market. And the right image shows the evolution of vapes and e-cigarettes products spanning from 2000 until now. And at first they were mainly disposable, but they evolved with refillable cartridges, battery packs, and became more sleek in their designs, making them look much less harmful, like the ones at the bottom of the fourth generation, almost looking like a pen or a USB stick. So why are they harmful? Well, in this image, you can see some little bottles. And this is an image, these little bottles are what they call e-liquid or sometimes e-juice. This is what is put into the e-cigarette vape pen devices. The liquid is heated by the vape to create an aerosol that is inhaled. The chemicals that come from the e-liquid are a health hazard. There are thousands of flavors of e-liquids that are made with different chemicals, and they may or may not contain nicotine. Vapes produce a number of dangerous chemicals that cause lung disease as well as cardiovascular disease, and we will look further more into these chemicals on the next slide, as well as some studies. And the nicotine concentrations, one vape equaling to 600 cigarettes in the study by the UCSF, University for San Francisco Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education, they reported that popular vapes can easily have the nicotine content of 3 cartons or 600 cigarettes. So what do the studies show? So the studies, the first one being the National Library of Medicine, states that nicotine is well known to have serious systemic side effects in addition to being highly addictive. It adversely affects the heart, reproductive system, lung, kidneys, etc. Many studies have consistently demonstrated its carcinogenic potential. The University of North Carolina had studies that found that 2 primary ingredients found in e-cigarettes, propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin, when vaped, are toxic to cells, and that the more ingredients in the e-liquid, the greater the toxicity. And the National Library of Medicine, the toxicology of e-cigarette constitute study reports that various chemical substances and ultrafine particles known to be toxic, carcinogenic, can cause respiratory and cardiac disease have been identified in e-cigarette aerosols, cartridges, refill liquids, and environmental emissions. And they had identified that there were 113 chemicals in 50 brands of liquids. So just looking more of like a handful of chemicals, examples. Chemicals inhaled from vapes and e-cigarettes, here are some examples. The first one we talked about, being one of the main ones, is propylene glycol. And this chemical is found in antifreeze products. And then there's acetone, which is a nail polish remover and also a paint thinner. And then nicotine as a chemical in high doses is a poison, and we understand from many studies how highly addictive it is. Ethylbenzene is often used to make other chemicals, also found in other products including pesticides, petroleum, paints, and it smells like gasoline, also found in manufactured products such as inks, insecticides. And rubidium is a chemical that can be used to give fireworks their bright colours. And then the last one here, formaldehyde, is used in embalming to disinfect and temporarily preserve human and animal remains. And these are just a handful of some of the chemicals that are found in vapes and e-cigarettes that our youth are using today. Some more evidence and studies about harmful effects of e-cigarettes, according to the CDC. It affects the brain development of young people. And nicotine exposure during adolescence can harm the developing brain, which continues to develop until about age 25. Nicotine causes withdrawal symptoms, which include irritability, restlessness, feeling anxious or depressed, trouble sleeping, cravings, and problems concentrating. And then the CDC also talked about the cancer-causing chemicals from vapes and e-cigarettes, and that they contain heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead, and that the chemical particles are inhaled deep into the lungs. And according to the National Institute of Health, long-term use of electronic cigarettes or vaping products significantly impairs the function of the body's blood vessels, increasing the risk for cardiovascular disease. And the statistics of use in Shasta County, as of January 2025, there are 216 tobacco retailers in Shasta County, and over 46% of schools are within 1,000 feet of them. And the majority of Shasta County youth reported buying vapes from a tobacco retailer, and that equaled to 32.6% of Shasta County youth. Shasta County youth also reported the highest use of tobacco ever used in the state of California. So that's 1 in 3 youth. Another statistic taken from the CDC, e-cigarette and nicotine pouch use among US middle and high school students in 2024, so this was last year, 5.9% used e-cigarettes, and that is the equivalent of 1.63 million students currently using e-cigarettes in 2024. So signs of vape and e-cigarette use amongst youth. Here are some examples. For example, scent. While the smell from a vape is potentially faint, you may still catch the scent of a flavouring. For example, if you smell bubblegum and there's no bubblegum in the room, or a chocolate cake when you're not baking, just taking a note of that. And then some physical symptoms that can be seen from youth using vapes and e-cigarettes are irritability, anger, impatience, anxiety, hard time concentrating, increased thirst, and significantly the nosebleeds due to some of the chemicals used in e-juices dry out the mouth and the nose. And as a result of this, some children and kids have to drink more to be able to relieve that sensation of the dry mouth and nose. And then there's appearance and behavior changes. If you notice in your child or any of their friends, there may be some behavior changes and appearances. Vaping nicotine, for example, leads to anxiety, irritability, difficulty concentrating, loss of appetite. Vaping marijuana, for example, can result in bloodshot eyes, dry mouth, thirst, and increased appetite. Sometimes there is a noticeable change in friends and a decrease in activities they once enjoyed. And then the last example here is equipment. Unfamiliar looking USB devices may be lying around, or battery chargers or spare parts. If you find them lying around, just taking note and being aware of that also. So how can we protect our youth? So discussing vaping and e-cigarettes and the facts and the dangers. First and foremost, parents and carers are encouraged to approach vaping like any other age-restricted product like alcohol and cigarettes. In the United States, the minimum age to purchase vaping products is 21 years old, and this is a federal law established in 2019 and applies to all tobacco products, including e-cigarettes. So just some more tips about discussing vape and e-cigarettes and the facts and the dangers. Just talking to your children, take the time to discuss the vaping and the facts, and ensure that you can provide them with all the information addressing the dangers of the use. And then taking opportunities to provide information on the dangers of nicotine and how highly addictive the substance is and how it can affect young people's brain development. And the next example is role play resistance skills. I think this one can be really, really powerful just by teaching your child skills to resist pressure to the use of vapes and e-cigarettes, so that children in middle school or high school are likely to be in a situation where if they are offered an opportunity to try vaping, they are able to decline. And just being able to role play, for example, you might ask them, what would you say if someone offered you their vape? And just see how your child would handle the situation. And of course, providing patience and understanding, and just practicing something along the lines of, well, no, thank you. Thank you for the offer, but I'm not interested. And saying to your child that it's said with direct eye contact and assertive body language. And this can help your child be more prepared to assert their boundaries confidently. And overall, this will help to discourage any experimentation of vaping and encourage them to make safer choices for themselves. And then setting a positive example. By setting a positive example would be by being vape and tobacco free. But if you do vape or smoke, just keeping your equipment and supplies secured and out of sight. And then being aware of where to signpost and find resources for further information and advice. Examples will be also shown on the next slide. And the final point here is the tobacco violations hotline. In terms of action, if you're aware of any place that sells these products, reporting them to the Shasta County Health and Human Services Agency by calling the tobacco violations hotline. And the number will be on the next page. And by calling them, you can report underage tobacco sales, including vaping products, to decrease the likelihood of youth buying these products in our county. So resources. Resources from the Youth Options Shasta, they have a program to help youth quit vaping and e-cigarettes. Their number is 530-244-7194, and they also have a website, www.youthoptionsshasta.org. There's also the teen.smokefree.gov. They have a texting, you can text quit to 47848. So it might be useful if a teen has a phone, they're able to text that number, making it very accessible. And then we talked a little bit about the Shasta County Tobacco Violation Hotline, and the number is there, 530-225-5052. and that's to report any underage tobacco sales, including vape products. And then finally, the tobacco education program mentioned earlier about their mission from Shasta County. This is their website. There is a wealth of information to help you, your families, and your community to help stop and prevent youth from using vapes and e-cigarettes. Thank you so much for listening and for joining this presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach me. Thank you.